Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news coming in right on top of the news hour at 9. We're getting information from the PMLA court in Mumbai. Nawab Malik has been given to the ED. ED has got custody for 7 days till March 3rd for Nawab Malik in a money laundering case for the purchase of a plot of land which is about 3 acres, and this is the big breaking news. Nawab Malik, a minister in the Agadhi Government, sent to ED's custody for 7 days till 3rd of March, and that's the big headline coming in right on top of the news hour. In fact, let me just go across to my colleague Arunil Sadadekar, joining me live from Mumbai outside the court where this order has just been given by the judge. Arunil, I understand the hearing went on for a good 3.5 hours, after which a 7-day custody given to Enforcement Directorate. What is the reaction coming in from the supporters of Nawab Malik now?
Well, ED custody until March 3rd, Navika, for Nawab Malik. So ED can basically interrogate Nawab Malik until March 3rd, and a cross-questioning with Iqbal Kaskar, the brother of Dawood Ibrahim, also expected, also on the cards. You can see the supporters of Nawab Malik particularly are still protesting over here. There were hundreds of supporters in the afternoon. Some of them have still stayed back. Ma'am, आप बताइए कि आप ये प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हो किस लिए?
जिंदाबाद 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 मनोवाद मुर्दाबाद मुर्दाबाद मुर्दाबाद।
आज आमचे नवाब मलिक साहब हमारे आमदार हमारे नवाब मलिक साहब आज हमारे ये लोग ने अंदर बंद करके रखा। इनको बाहर छुड़ाओ क्यों कि अच्छा नेता को तुम लोग बंद किया। अरे चोर को पकड़ो ना। हाँ, मोदी सरकार चोर है, Narendra Modi chore.
Tomorrow by around 10 a.m. a massive protest has been called in by the Mahavikas Agadhi leaders. In fact, today also at the residence of CM Uddhav Thackeray, all the three-party leaders had met over there. There was a unanimous consensus that any action that has been initiated by central agencies, the Mahavikas Agadhi is going to jointly fight against it. That's what we understand. And in the courtroom also, we saw an intense battle. In fact, the lawyer, the counsel representing Nawab Malik, Mr. Ameet Desai, clearly pointed out, saying that the arrest of Nawab Malik was illegal, how he was detained from his residence, and then at the ED office in Port South Mumbai, he was asked to sign on a paper and then later told that these were the summons of Nawab Malik. With respect to the allegations that are there against the NCP Mantri, these are extremely serious allegations. In fact, the ED remand note clearly mentions that Nawab Malik funded the terror.
We'll get to the remand note, which we have a copy of, but clearly at this point in time, everything in this country is political. Even a court order sending Nawab Malik for custody with the ED for 7 days. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you how this entire story began. Today, a sitting Maharashtra minister was arrested after a marathon questioning session of about 12 hours. Picked up from his home at 7 a.m. in the morning and quizzed for 9 hours straight at the Ballad Estate headquarters of the Enforcement Directorate. And right after that, ladies and gentlemen, he was arrested, and when he came out of the ED office, that is the manner in which he raised his hand. Completely dramatic, filmy drama, and that's the image that defines the entire narrative. No worry, no strain lines on his forehead. Nawab Malik was all smiles and walked out of the ED office to be taken to the hospital for his medical checkup as the protocol requires. Defiantly came out waving his fist in the air, declaring that he's not going to be cowed down, and that he was absolutely confident and exuded that confidence on his face in the way he raised his fist, even after he was just put under arrest of some very, very serious charges. The bravado was there for everyone to see. His party workers, his supporters, and also his rivals were there. But those of you who haven't been following this case, I'll tell you what the case was. But first, let's listen in. First, let's listen in to what Nawab Malik said. Well, so you heard him, na jhukenge, na darenge, jeetenge. That's what he said. But let me break down the case for you. And what's the charge against Nawab Malik? He says Malik has had a land deal with an aide of Daud Ibrahim, which is the deal of a land in Kurla, which is under the scanner. The name first cropped up in an intel during the probe of a Hawala case. That's when his came up. And sale of the real estate in Kurla, Nagpada, Bhendi Bazaar, all of these are under the lens. Property worth about 3.5 to 4 crore rupees, allegedly bought for about 30 lakhs of rupees. Registry in 2005, document linked between Malik and Malik's son and Daud Ibrahim's aides. Sale deed receipt of about 15 lakhs by Daud aide Mohammad Salim Patel. And these are those deals with 5 lakhs being received, and these are the signatures here in 2005. And this receipt really shows the documents that the enforcement directorate is using to question Mr. Nawab Malik. Sale deed also showed this 5 lakhs that were received from the 1993 blast convict Shah Wali Khan, and these are the charges that have been framed against Nawab Malik. But Sharad Pawar says that if it's a Muslim member, they link him to Daud. It's as simple as that. No answers on the sale deeds. And that's Nawab Malik being taken away by the enforcement directorate, taken into custody by the ED after brought back to the ED office after the hearing in the court, PMLA court that was just hearing. So it's all about now religion-based arrests. No answers coming in from the NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar on the charges, only saying because he's a Muslim, he's been linked to Daud. So that seems to be the way it's going, and it has created ripples across the opposition lines. Mamata Banerjee calls up Sharad Pawar, says she's in support. Akhilesh Yadav in Uttar Pradesh, campaigning during elections, also says that this is vendetta politics. Nobody is interested in what the courts are saying, because this is not the first minister of the NCP who's been arrested. Before this, it was the former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh who was arrested, and despite several bail applications, continues to be in jail after months of his initial arrest by the Enforcement Directorate. So the legitimate question that we're asking on the NewsHour tonight, simply this: is witch hunt the only defense that the opposition can mount on this charge? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Gaurav Bhatia, national spokesperson of the BJP. Also joining me is Ameet Satam, MLA of the BJP in Maharashtra. Tehseen Poonawalla, political analyst. Saba Naqvi, senior journalist. But my first question goes to Mr. Narendra Verma, national spokesperson of the NCP. And Mr. Narendra Verma, how can there be a defense which says this is vendetta when the matter is in courts? The courts have given the custody, and in the case of Anil Deshmukh, it was the same excuse that was used. The man is still in jail. Bail hasn't been agreed to by several courts. Why is it always going to boil down to vendetta, and then also comes down to something like because he's a Muslim, he's being linked to Daud? What's that got to do with the sale deed and the inexplicable link with Hawala, with a land that is bought for 30 lakhs, the fact that it is being called proceeds of crimes that have been used, and of course, with the people who have links with Daud and also the 1993 blast accused?
Navika, first of all, we knew that this is going to happen. The arrest of Nawab Malik is illegal. And the central investigation agencies are working like a frontal organization of Bharatiya Janata Party. Now you said, how can you say it is vendetta politics? I will answer you of two questions. One is vendetta politics, and second is this is the central agencies are used as a BJP frontal organization. The arrest order, Navika, you have the arrest order. Just read it. The arrest order today, dated 23/2/2022, wherein I, Neeraj Kumar, Assistant Director, Directorate of Enforcement, Zone 1, Mumbai, have reason to believe that Mr. Nawab Malik, aged 62, address so-and-so, has been found guilty, has been found to be guilty of an offence punishable under the provisions of Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Guilty. How can they prove guilty Nawab Malik at this stage? We say it is illegal arrest. There has to be a due process of law. There has to be a discussion in the court of law, and the court will decide whether Nawab Malik is guilty or is not guilty. So this is what the agencies have been used by Bharatiya Janata Party. One. Now second, Navika, this Nawab Malik, he has taken oath, constitution oath. He's a minister. He's not a criminal. 5:30, the enforcement directorate people goes to his place, 5:30 in the morning, and try to arrest him. 7 o'clock, he was taken to the enforcement directorate office, Kolaba. Now, he's a criminal. Did you serve any summon to him? Any notice to him? And why always the ED, CBI, income tax, the opposition party leaders are suffering for last 7 years since the time BJP has come to power? Why not the government where BJP is ruling? Why this is why the raids are not put there? So these are the questions which the nation wants to know through you. This is totally, Nawab Malik is our very good spokesperson, very studied minister. He had taken the Samir Wankhede case, that is Narcotic Bureau, anti-narcotic bureau case. He has, and how Samir Wankhede was linked with BJP. So this is a vendetta politics which I have answered you.
So
this is
you're
what
saying, Mr. Verma, you are saying that because Samir Wankhede's case was picked up by Nawab Malik, so the documents of the purchase of a Kurla property were planted, and therefore the 2005 link was concocted, and the purchase from Dawood Ibrahim's aides were also concocted by the enforcement directorate, only because the good man, Mr. Nawab Malik, was challenging Samir Wankhede. Now that seems like a bit of a stretch of the imagination, but let me get Gaurav Bhatia to respond. Let me get Gaurav Bhatia to respond to the charges that you have made. Gaurav Bhatia, according to the arrest note, I'll come back.
Since you have asked me the question, you please take the answer. Please take the answer, Navika. Navika, the deal did take place.
Acha.
17
So the ED
years
has
back,
not planted
the
it.
deal did take
So the
It was registered.
ED has not planted those
Listen
sale
to me.
deeds.
I'm answering.
Okay. And the court in the remand document, those questions were raised. The court has heard them after hearing for 3.5 hours. They have, sent Mr. Nawab Malik into ED's custody. Now, is the court wrong? I want to ask you. Is the court wrong?
No.
The judge doesn't know what he's doing?
Is court wrong? No. Just listen. The deal did take place. The deal did take place. This deal happened 17 years back. Why it has taken up now? Now you say one of the seller was accused of Mumbai blast. Now those, if I accuse, his property has to be confiscated by the concerned authority. Why it was not done 17 years back? So these are and Nawab Malik, I'm on record, NCP on record, has no link, absolutely there is nothing. Everything went.
Fair point. You are making that defense, and that defense is not something that we are going to sit and judge here. That is a judgment that has to be based on an investigation and decided in a court of law. I am not in a position to say whether the charge made by the enforcement directorate is true or not. It's a subject matter of a case in court and an investigation for which custodial interrogation has been sought. Mr. Verma, please allow me to seek some answers from the BJP, as well. Mr. Verma, you'll have to give somebody else also a chance to speak, Mr. Verma. I understand you're agitated.
We had a faith in judiciary and you saw the result. And in Anil Deshmukh also we have a faith in judiciary and you will see the result.
All right. So Anil Deshmukh, has Anil Deshmukh got bail, sir?
Ajay,
I don't know. Maybe I missed this news somewhere. Has Mr. Anil Deshmukh got bail yet? Has he got bail yet?
No.
No,
did not.
And how many courts of law? How many courts of law has the Anil Deshmukh bail case gone to? How many courts of law?
See, judiciary has a system. We have a faith in judiciary, and Anil Deshmukh will come clean.
Okay.
Today I am telling you, you're going
but
to
he's still not out on bail. He's still not out on bail months and months after he was arrested, and even at that time you called it vendetta politics. I rest my case, Mr. Verma. I want to get an answer in from Gaurav Bhatia. Mr. Gaurav Bhatia, the charge is on you that the enforcement directorate is an extension of the BJP. And when they bring out a note for arrest, they write in that the accused is guilty, which they should not be writing because that is the matter that has to be decided in court. Respond to the charge and a flurry of charges after that have been put by Mr. Narendra Verma of the NCP.
Right. So first of all, I'll reply to the charges that he has made. But let us understand, the one person who's facing very serious charges is Mr. Nawab Malik. First of all, I think the courts will decide whether he is guilty or not guilty. But at the same time, since he is a public person, Navika, such serious charges come that he has links with the terrorists. Please ask him to be quiet. I think we were very courteous to you. Please. So Navika, because he's in public life, property and propriety demands that he should have come out and he should have categorically denied that he has no links with all these terrorists and he has not purchased any property. But since there has been no categorical denial, it's an admission from him that yes, he has purchased property. Second, for Sharad Pawar ji to again play the Muslim card, I think is very, very, unacceptable for the reason, it puts him in the category of Asaduddin Owaisi. Yaqub Memon when hanged, Asaduddin Owaisi said that he's being hanged because he's a Muslim. Today, Sharad Pawar is saying the same thing. When Nawab Malik was made a minister earlier also and now again, was he not a Muslim? So when we honor Muslims, that is good. But when they are suspects in terror cases and corruption cases, then they play the Muslim card. Now, coming to the CBI, ED being frontal organizations for the BJP, I remember very significantly, Navika, that it was during the Congress regime that the Supreme Court had to remark that CBI has been turned into a cage parrot. Now these cage parrots have been made free and they are hawks biting the corrupt and people involved with terrorists, and therefore the truth is coming out. Most importantly, if these people have faith in the judiciary, being a lawyer, I can tell you one very basic thing. Say if there wasn't a strong case against Nawab Malik, the court would not have given custody of Nawab Malik to ED for 7 days. He would have been put in judicial custody. What does it show? It shows that there is a very strong prima facie evidence against Mr. Nawab Malik. And now, political vendetta. I want to ask, Anil Deshmukh, you can recall all the debates that we had. They said political vendetta, bail not given. Sonia Gandhi, corruption case, National Herald, political vendetta, but she is out on bail. The case has not been quashed. P. Chidambaram, he was planting cauliflowers in a gamla for 5 crore rupees. And he said, no, मैंने कुछ गलत नहीं किया. ASL Maxis, political vendetta. But he was arrested and bail was denied to him for months. So let us not say political vendetta for the sake of it. I challenge all the panelists here. If they can show one judgment of the Supreme Court or the High Court where proceedings of an investigating agency have been quashed on the ground of political vendetta.
And I want Mr. Narendra Verma. I have this arrest. I have the arrest order in my hand. And please allow, no, 1 minute. Mr. Verma, please allow me to read the arrest order, because you have drawn conclusions from the arrest order as if the enforcement directorate had given a verdict that Mr. Nawab Malik is guilty. I will now read the complete arrest order. Narendra Verma ji, come on. It can't be a battle between your lung power and my lung power. It's a question of law, and on the question of law, I am putting before you the language that has been used, and the language that is used, and viewers, please take note of the language. The language says, whereas I, Neeraj Kumar, Assistant Director, Directorate of Enforcement Zone 1, Mumbai, have reason to believe that Mr. Muhammad Islam Malik at Nawab Malik, aged about 62 years, residing at so and so location, has been found to be guilty. So if you remove the address, the sentence reads, I have reason to believe that so and so has been found to be guilty, which is perfectly correct statement to make. And when there is reason to believe that there is a guilt, to establish that guilt, we are arresting him because we need to do custodial interrogation, which is what the remand note says. When the remand note goes to the court after 3.5 hours of arguments, the remand is given, custody is given to Enforcement Directorate. So please do not make this as a case of a judgment. Reason to believe that the said person is guilty is the grounds for the arrest. Tehseen Poonawalla, I'm not a lawyer, but this seems perfect English to me. I don't know why the NCP wants to twist the English and the connotation. Is that the only defense? Vendetta number one, predetermined, prejudging of the entire situation. Are these the only defenses that are left now in this case?
Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Navika ji. And I'm going to make 2 very brief points. I just don't want an interjection, very brief points. Point number 1, since afternoon, I am getting in touch, and I've tweeted about this, it's also trending right now, with as many leaders of opposition parties as I can. The opposition needs to come together and immediately ban the enforcement directorate from operating in the states unless they have a specific court order or they have state government permissions. Let this matter go to Supreme Court and let it be a constitutional challenge. Come what may, they have to be stopped.
Is this a political issue or is it a matter of law?
It's a political issue.
Are you trying to
Please allow me to
browbeat
make my point.
agencies? Are you trying to browbeat agencies? Are you trying to say that no politician should be ever investigated? What are you trying to say, Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla?
Okay, I am trying to say that the ED should only now operate in opposition states with a court order, or they should be stopped. Let the matter go to the Supreme Court and fight it in the Supreme Court.
So
Enough is enough. Let me finish my second point.
You are a serial litigant.
And that's why I'm in discussion. That's why I'm in discussion. I want to tell you viewers one very important fact. I want your viewers to know something, and I know you will allow me to tell your viewers that the Honorable Supreme Court had very clearly in its written judgment said the present DED director's tenure cannot be extended. After suspending 12 Rajya Sabha MPs, via voice vote, his tenure is extended for 5 years more. This is illegal, unconstitutional. Let the matter fight.
The matter is in court.
It's court, and we will make sure we win. Second point that I want to make.
Anil Deshmukh is also in court. Go to court.
It is.
And he hasn't got bail. So how?
He hasn't got bail.
Yeah, he hasn't got bail. And how many courts has he gone to since you keep such close track of courts? Can you tell us how many times and which courts has Mr. Deshmukh gone to?
I'll answer that. Anil Deshmukh is my friend. I stand by Nawab Malik. Nobody will. They made a mistake making Anil Deshmukh resign. Nawab Malik will not resign. Fight till the courts fight to save India. Second thing, within the BJP MLA, I just want to take 4 names. 4 names I want to ask the BJP MLA here. Very important. Amit ji, Jai Maharashtra. Mala fakta ekach sanga for your viewers in Hindi. I'm asking him a question. Who is Girish Mahajan, BJP MLA Devyani Fardane, Bala Sahib Sanap, and Seema Hirai, along with Nasik Mayor Ranjana Bansal?
Please give the particulars to any agency or the Anti-Corruption Bureau in Maharashtra and get an investigation done. You know why
you have your government.
Why are you saying all this? Why are you saying all this on the NewsHour tonight when the question is about Nawab Malik? Well, Tehseen Poonawalla. Tehseen Poonawalla, just take a chill pill because I have covered agencies longer than you have been wearing that jacket from a designer and sitting and tweeting. Okay, so let's not get into this. Let's not get into this.
Fair point. Where am I disputing it?
Yeah.
But
so let's not get into
the question
this.
I asked. Why are you so defensive? The BJP MLA will answer this.
My question. I am not defending the BJP. I have the right. I will defend and offend whoever I want to. I don't need your permission, Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla. But I am saying कि हम resign नहीं करेंगे. All opposition leaders need to come together. अरे resign नहीं करोगे तो that at best is सीना जोरी. Sina Jori. That is not a legal defense. That is not a legal defense. Ameet Satam. Why are these people who are defending this entire case, which is I'm not declaring that Mr. Nawab Malik is guilty. But why don't they give us explanations on the questions and the charges that have been raised by the Enforcement Directorate rather than going to the whole explanation of vendetta?
Also ask him when
they are not giving explanations as per the merits of the case. The simple reason that there are inexplicable evidences that Mr. Nawab Malik has had financial transactions with those people who were accused of bomb blasts in the city of Mumbai. All those people, all this Iqbal Kaskar has been interrogated, and I would like to remind that first NIA has registered a case under UAPA, after which Enforcement Directorate has swung into action. After that they have interrogated Iqbal Kaskar, and only after that they have taken custody of Mr. Nawab Malik. They are themselves admitting on the show that the deal has taken place. So doing a deal with a person who is accused of bomb blast in the city of Mumbai, who is a Tada accused, is an act of treason. It is an anti-national activity. It is not a question of crime, it is a question of national security. This is a case of terror funding. And my answer to my dear friend Mr. Poonawalla, you have all the agencies in the state of Maharashtra, you have EOW, you have ATS, you have CID, you have the crime branch, you have everybody. Everybody who has done wrong, kindly give all the evidences that you have to those agencies and let them act as per law. Let them act as per law. Today, whatever action is being taken against Nawab Malik is as per law. If this is vendetta politics, then do you want to say that the court is also involved in this vendetta? Why is the court not throwing away the ED papers? They have given the custody of Nawab Malik to Enforcement Directorate because they are convinced that there are incriminating evidences against Mr. Nawab Malik, and this is not just a matter of money laundering. This is a matter of terror funding. This is a matter of national security and safety and security of each and every citizen of this country.
And that's the question. That's the question I want to ask Saba Malik. I want to ask Saba Naqvi. Saba Naqvi, the remand note, page 23 that I hold in my hand, says this is property number so-and-so usurped by Nawab Malik in connivance with D-gang member is proceeds of crime under section 2(1) of PMLA. In lieu of the said acquisition of property, Mr. Nawab Malik funded the terror network of Dawood Ibrahim through Hasina Parker. Now, this is not a frivolous charge. It is in the remand note. This is in the remand note, and we can only go as journalists. You're a journalist, I'm a journalist, and we can only go by the remand note which is in front of our hand. And this remand note is on the basis of which the arguments in court today took place. And the judge...
Absolutely, I agree with you, Navika. So you have a legitimate reason to do this story. I will also point out to you, since the speaker preceding me said about treason, he must, and I'm a very secular person, I believe all people can commit treason. He must know that there is an MP of the BJP who is very active in Uttar Pradesh right now by the name of Braj Bhushan Charan Singh. He's a mafia. He was in jail, for hiding members of the Dawood gang. Now you must launch a movement. Just look into it. I suggest everybody look into it. I have a long association with UP. He was in jail. He harbored members of the Dawood gang. Please, sir, honestly, respectfully, I look into it. The reason why questions get asked, Navika, is because opposition parties, right from the time of Trinamool Congress, when the Bengal elections were on, there were a lot of ED inquiries, there were a lot of income tax inquiries. An individual who is now the Chief Minister of Assam had all those inquiries, they vanished. All of that has happened, which is why people say it's political. Also, there is a particular scenario with Maharashtra and Delhi. I mean, even that Shah Rukh Khan's son was in jail for a month. He was put into custody by another central agency. All of this, nothing comes out of all of this. So I really take terrorism very seriously. I really believe you should investigate your own MP. Member of Parliament of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Braj Bhushan Charan Singh, kindly do so.
Respond, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia. Respond, Mr. Gaurav Bhatia.
Dawood member, he is shooters of the Dawood gang. Is that not
terrorism? Can I respond now?
Yes, respond.
Can I respond?
Please.
Navika, I'm so secular that I don't have to start my opening line by saying I'm secular. That's my credibility. But having said that, now let me, respond to what Saba Naqvi ji said. Saba Naqvi ji, first of all, Shah Rukh Khan's son was in jail for a month. The judiciary decided to grant him bail after a month. And you are not above the judiciary when I last checked, because you are a journalist. Fine, J for judiciary, J for journalism doesn't put you above the judiciary. Have faith in the Indian judiciary. It is very independent and robust. And you said nothing came out of it. Let me tell you, be it the case of Nawab Malik or Shah Rukh Khan's son, everyone is equal in the eyes of law. Nawab नाम से हो सकते हैं, but Nawab जो है कानून के ऊपर नहीं होते हैं. and the trial has to take place. So let the trial be done, and then we'll come to know who's convicted, who's not.
No, but the substantive question that she is asking is about your own MLA. MP in UP. Sorry, MP in UP.
I'm answering.
Yes.
And one more point, Gaurav. I really, since we bring in the ED, Navika,
no, I will respond to that as well.
No, I want to bring about the ED.
But the elections are not on in Maharashtra.
The joint director of the enforcement directorate quit the enforcement directorate and got a BJP ticket. His seat, Sarojini Nagar in Lucknow, has voted today within an hour. So he was the joint director of the ED. He was a government servant on our taxpayers.
The last I heard, while that's a valid question and Gaurav will answer that question, the last I know, he wasn't investigating the Maharashtra case. He wasn't investigating the Maharashtra case, but Gaurav Bhatia respond.
Am I right about Braj?
Yes, please. See, we need to understand that their arguments are as flimsy as their thought process. First, they said political vendetta. I replied by saying, show me a High Court, Supreme Court judgment which has quashed the proceedings under the current central government's dispensation on the basis of political vendetta or malafide. They did not. Second, please do not speak in between, whoever it is.
I responded to that, Mr. Verma. I responded to that, but I'm coming to you. I've responded to that because it clearly said that we have reason to believe. We have reason to believe that he is guilty, which is why we are arresting him. I think you're reading it wrong. I think you're reading it wrong. Read it properly. I read it in its entirety, but I'll come back to you, Mr. Verma. Allow Gaurav to complete his point.
No, this is your interpretation. You may interpret it is guilty.
Then that is your interpretation.
Enforcement Directorate use this word that you are guilty. You may interpret in your way. It's not correct. That shows their intention. They are vendetta politics as well as the...
Gaurav Bhatia respond to that as well. Gaurav Bhatia respond to that because I'm not a lawyer to respond to that. Why don't you?
It is very clear.
Why are you arguing here on that?
Gaurav could not answer in his first phase. Gaurav Bhatia, being a lawyer, could
Can
not
he be
answer
quiet,
this.
Navika?
All right, he's answering you. He's answering you, sir. He's answering you, sir. 1 minute. Allow him to answer. Allow him to answer, sir. 1 minute. Yes, Gaurav, respond.
You have allowed him in first phase.
Okay. So, the number of papers that Mr. Narendra Verma has seen in his entire lifetime, I must have seen more remand notices. What Navika has pointed out, I don't have a copy of the remand notice. That is why I don't want to get into the details. But I can very fairly state as a counsel, not as a BJP spokesperson, this is the language that is used. And that is why it says reason to believe that he is guilty. And then that is placed before the court, which decides whether there is enough incriminating material or not. Having said that, Navika, Saba Naqvi ji completely fails to notice that CBI under the current dispensation has been completely impartial, and they have been even sending notices to Mukul Roy, who was in the BJP, and I can give the date also.
No, but that is irrelevant, No, that is irrelevant. I don't want to get into the... I want to ask substantive questions of Mr. Verma. Mr. Verma, I want to ask you, was there a land transaction in 2005 or not? Did the land in Kurla get purchased from the said Mr. Patel and Mr. Khan? Mr. Khan, who is somebody who went to jail in the 1993 blast. Just answer this question. Was there a land deal, yes or no?
He is in jail now. He is in Aurangabad jail.
Okay, so was there a land deal with him, yes or no?
Navika, you have asked me, let me answer.
Yes.
Let me answer.
Yes.
Navika, you know the answer. That the deal, we are not denying. The deal did take place.
Okay.
There is a registry.
Okay.
As per the ready reckoner.
And the document.
Listen, you said
and the document is on your screen. The deal, sale deal is there.
Navika,
You are
what
not
is this?
denying the
Are you
deal.
representing
And
BJP?
you are not
BJP?
denying the deal.
Navika,
You
are
are
you
not
the
denying
spokesperson
that
of
the
BJP?
deal was
Let
with
me
a
answer,
doubt.
please.
The document
You
is
have
on air.
asked specific
You are not
question. Let me
you are
answer.
not
No,
denying
Navika,
you are not
very
denying
important
the
point.
fact
This is
that
not
there
fair.
was a
Don't
deal
say
of
this
this
is
nature.
your-
You are not
credibility
denying
of
that
the
the
channel.
deal was done with a
Don't
Daud
damage
man.
the
You are not
credibility
denying
of the
that this
channel,
man
Navika.
was not.
Please
You are
balance,
also
please
confirming
balance.
that he is still in jail for his role in the 1993 blast, and you are saying this is vendetta politics?
Don't confuse the viewer. Don't confuse the
You
viewer.
are
Please,
confusing,
Navika,
sir.
The deal did take place. I'm not confusing. You're not allowing me to answer, and you're representing as if
No,
you're
was Nawab
representing
Malik a
BJP.
minister also?
You're a spokesperson
Please
of
tell us.
BJP. I'm sorry
Was
to say
Nawab
that.
Malik a minister in
Answer.
2005?
You said the deal was done.
No, Navika, ask him.
Okay, all right. Answer my question. Was the deal done with Mr. Khan, the accused in the 1993 blast case?
Please be balanced. Be balanced. We have full faith in judiciary, and Nawab Malik will come
Balanced?
with flying colors.
Sir, was the land deal done? Was the land deal done or not? Mr. Verma
This is the kind of
shouting.
faith you have in judiciary.
Raise the level of your
Navika,
argument, not your
Navika.
voice, sir. Raise the level of your argument,
Navika,
sir.
please, there is a question.
I'm asking in all humility. I'm asking in all humility. Was the land deal done? Was the land deal done?
This is not correct.
Was the land deal done?
I did say. I
Yeah.
said the deal
So, if it's done,
was done. It
what?
was registered as per the norms, rules, regulation of registry.
Okay. Was
Lady
it
Wagner,
was
you are
it
saying
done
it is
with
crores
Mr.
of
Khan?
rupees, the cost was crores,
Was
it
it
was
done with
purchased in
Mr.
lakhs.
Khan
It was
convicted
as
in the
per norm.
1993 blast case? Was the deal with him? Was the land purchased from him?
No,
That is-
Navika,
look
Navika, I
here.
have a...
Don't try to say, let me...
Can
it
I ask
was
him a
duty
question? He was asking me
of
some
the-
questions. I also wish
Such
to
a
ask
big
him.
blast case, the police, the investigation, this thing, why didn't they confiscate? We were
Are
not, say, don't try to, you know...
What have I asked?
नाविका इनसे एक सवाल पूछ रहे हैं बहुत जरूरी है
Gaurav Bhatia, deal हुई थी. Deal was done with a doubt. Deal was done with a 1993 blast accused and convicted person, and they are saying this is vendetta politics.
Do you understand, Mr. Narendra Verma?
No.
Do you understand? Why was the
Navika,
deal
there is
done?
very
The
important
deal was done to save the property.
Before,
No.
please ask him to be
The
quiet.
deal was done to save the property.
Navika, please, this is
Nawab
very
Malik
important.
was a front end of Sarkar. Do you understand that? Do you understand the crux of the case, Mr.
I don't know what your defense is. Mr. Verma, I give you 1 minute, gentlemen. 1 minute, gentlemen. Mr. Verma, there are 3 questions coming your way. Please answer these 3 questions. I will give you a full 60 seconds, extend it to 90 seconds if you wish to. If you wish to. Please, 1 minute. Please listen to the question. Listen to the question, Mr. Verma.
In Arunachal, in Manipur, in Goa, and in Karnataka. Now they want to do it in Maharashtra, and they are not succeeding, and that is why all this game.
Mr. Verma, okay, if the BJP is doing unholy things, may the wrath of gods land upon them. May the wrath of gods land upon them. I am not going to.
Unholy thing there.
Okay, so अगर ये अनहोली चीजें कर रहे हैं तो इनको भगवान देगा ना, सजा देगा. आप मुझे सिर्फ इतना बता दो कि 1993
जुडिशरी देगी सजा.
ठीक है, चलिए जुडिशरी देगी, आप दे दो सर, आप दे दो, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, कोई भी दे दे इनको सजा, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. आप मुझे इतना बता दो कि लैंड डील
जुडिशरी देगी. नाविका, don't put words in my mouth. We have a full trust. NCP has full trust.
Sir, I want to ask you one
Indian
question.
judiciary.
Sir, I want to ask you one question. Allow me to ask you one question. Sir, you are browbeating me.
Nawab Malik is guilty. Punish him.
Navika, is this
Sir,
Land
was purchased from a man convicted in his role in the 1993 blast. So what are you calling a vendetta? What are you calling a vendetta, Mr. Verma? Kya vendetta hai?
I said it in the beginning. I said it in the beginning. It is clear-cut vendetta. And in coming days, you will see this.
This is the land deal. This is the land deal. On your screen is the land deal. The land deal is there. The land is purchased from Khan. Khan is in the Aurangabad jail for his role in 1993 blast. Tehseen Poonawalla, please explain to me. Please explain to me. Should this deal not be looked at? Should this deal not be looked at, because Mr. Verma is shouting at me and trying to scare me off from asking this question?
No one can ever scare you off. That is point number one, because you are somebody who's always raised the voice of what is correct. And you're absolutely right. Please look at this deal 17, 18 years ago, because if the enforcement directorate believed that with a check payment, Nawab Malik was helping Dawood Ibrahim, good. But by the same logic, if I can ask the honorable BJP MLA sitting here, from Girish Mahajan, then a minister in the BJP Devendra Fadnavis government, to the 4 MLAs named you took, including the minister including the mayor of Nasik, why were they attending Dawood Ibrahim's relative's wedding in Nasik while Devendra Fadnavis was chief minister and no action taken against him? Number two,
so because they were attending a wedding, so because they were attending a wedding, now you will do deal. You want license to do deal with D company. Now Gaurav Bhatia, this fantastic logic, because some people in your party go and attend weddings of Dawood family weddings, so they will do a land deal, and they will do a land deal with 1993 blast accused. Do what you want to. That's the argument that's coming. Respond, Gaurav Bhatia.
Bhajpa was Bharati in Dawood Ibrahim ke rishtedar.
चलो ठीक है, बारातियों को जेल भेजो, पर आप जमीन क्यों खरीद रहे थे, ये तो बता दो.
क्यों नहीं भेजा फडणवीस ने? कोई तो पूछ रहा.
Gaurav Bhatia respond.
Navika, I cannot respond while these people are shouting. Please.
Sorry, Gaurav.
There needs to be some decorum in the debate.
I really apologize. Please speak.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah,
my friend.
Please answer why Girish Mahajan was not.
Two things I wish to state, which are very serious, and my friend Tehseen will also hear me out. In 2005, Nawab Malik was a minister. A minister is supposed to act in the interest of the people of Maharashtra. He should have ensured that victims of the bomb blast and their family members get justice. But he was busy doing land deals with terror accused persons. Later, some of them have been convicted. Tehseen, I ask you, was he a land dealer or was he a minister? That's the question. And second, it doesn't matter whether the property was worth 30 lakh, 2 crore, 30 crores. Proceeds of crime under the PMLA Act have to be confiscated, and if there is a person who abets the crime, he is equally guilty, and that is exactly what is happening in the case of Nawab Malik. Kuch din pehle, Tehseen, my friend, this very same Nawab Malik was shouting, "Mujhe arrest karo, dam hai to karo, kuch hai to karo." आज अरेस्ट कर लिया तो कह रहे कैसे कर लिया, क्यों कर लिया, गलत कर लिया. You can't have double standards. You make an argument, it should stand on the strength of its logic.
Well, I'll give the last word. I'll give the last word to Mr. Verma. I'll give the last word to Mr. Verma because the charge has been made, and rightly he needs the right to respond. Mr. Verma.
Tell me, what charge? Sir. What did you ask?
Gaurav Bhatia made a charge at you.
Navika?
Yes, sir.
What?
No one is resigning.
What? I did not hear. Tell me, repeat.
Well, the question is...
But Gaurav?
Sir, ये तहसीन बोल रहे थे, गौरव भाटिया नहीं बोल रहे थे, आप नाराज मत होइए.
I am absolutely standing. No one will resign. We'll fight in court.
अच्छा, मत resign करो भाई, but that is not a defense in a court of law. That is only...
Okay, resign.
Did Ajay resign? Because his son is an accused. But Nawab Malik, he has deals with terror accused. He's behind Patel should not
आशीष
resign.
मिश्रा,
क्या hypocrisy?
उन्होंने
क्या hypocrisy?
यानी किसानों
वाह,
पे
impossible
जीत जमा
resign.
दी।
वाह, वाह।
सात
वाह,
किसान की
impossible
मौत हो
resign.
गई, बेल मिल
I
गया,
want to-
बाहर
वाह,
आ गए, पूरे दुनिया ने देखा। क्या रिजाइन
good.
किया?
बनाए रखो।
क्या अजय मिश्रा टेनी ने रिजाइन
बनाए
किया?
रखो।
मिनिस्टर
टुकड़ा
ऑफ
साफ
स्टेट
होगा
फॉर
तभी
होम
हिलोगे
अफेयर,
तुम लोग।
मिनिस्टर ऑफ स्टेट फॉर होम अफेयर।
अरे अनिल देशमुख, you people were crying foul. Anil Deshmukh is still behind bars.
Nawab, it's not a sin.
No, Anil Deshmukh also, bhai sahab, you people came and said that he is a victim of political
I don't
vendetta.
know.
वो बाहर ही नहीं
There
आ
are-
पाया अभी तक.
Navika,
There are several arguments that are coming, ladies and gentlemen, from both sides. My point is not these arguments, because these arguments will be made in a court of law. As of now, 7 days custody. But I want to show you the document. The document, if we can just have, yeah, this is the document. And this is the document where Mohammad Salim Patel, there is a document. He is Daud's aide. He was, I'm told, the driver also of Daud aide. And this is the deal that has been done with Sardar Shah Wali Khan, 1993 blast convict in Aurangabad jail. This is the sale deed signed in 2005, the date right here. And I just want to show you Faraz Malik, Nawab Malik's son. And these family members were directors on a company that purchased this plot. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to get into politics. The sale deed is here, and the fact is that this man convicted of the 1993 blast is the case that the Enforcement Directorate has put out against Mr. Nawab Malik. Now, there are arguments that this is vendetta. There are arguments that he will be exonerated by the courts. Well, we'll wait for that. But as of now, if there is a terror link to Daud, and there are links to somebody who's been convicted of the 1993 blast, then this is a serious case. Any argument which says vendetta doesn't wash, any argument on why it is happening now when the deal was signed in 2005 doesn't really wash. No argument can be made about the fact that if the family members and Mr. Nawab Malik himself was director on this company when this deal took place, these are matters of investigation which will play out in the courts. As of now, if there is a terror link, don't you think, viewers, it is important for anyone to look into this, and that is why there are agencies set up on taxpayers' money to look into these kind of deals. And if they look into these kind of deals, should they be only accused of vendetta? I think vendetta is a secondary question. The question is what the investigations throw up on the terror link. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where this story rests. The rest will be followed right here on Times Now, and the rest will be in the courts. May the best side win. And if these charges are proved, then this is a serious matter. Any argument about Nawab Malik not resigning cannot take away the fact that this is a serious case, and we will continue to question those who are trying to wash this away in a vendetta charge. That's all on the NewsHour, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me, but stay tuned. Padmaja Joshi up next. Don't go anywhere.